A trade that even NBA 2K could not simulate happened in real life. 32-year-old Anthony Davis goes to the Dallas Mavericks to assist Kyrie Irving, while the younger Luka Doncic heads to Los Angeles to team up with his idol, LeBron James. These two teams, the Mavericks aim to win now, while the Lakers have already won the future. Luka Doncic, once considered the future of Dallas, is now on the move. In the 2018-2019 rookie season, he and Dirk Nowitzki officially completed the passing of the torch. The following year, this young man from Slovenia made an all-star level performance and has been a consistent presence in MVP voting. Over the past 5 years, his lowest scoring average was 27.7 points, and last season he won the scoring title with 33.4 points. His lowest averages in rebounds and assists were both 8. In other words, he has been the most versatile triple-double machine in the league over the past 5 years. It's hard to believe that a player of his caliber would ever be traded by the Mavericks. However, general manager Nico Harrison stated in an interview that he believes defense wins championships. After acquiring the best defensive center of the year, and also a member of the All-NBA team, Anthony Davis, the Mavericks are now a team that can win both now and in the future. The Mavericks are dead. A die-hard fan spent $3,000 to have a coffin placed outside the American Airlines Center, screaming at the sky. Why? Near Dirk Nowitzki's statue, there were piles of flowers, Luka Doncic jerseys and memorabilia, and the ground was marked with slogans cursing general manager Harrison. In fact, Harrison is not very reliable. He once worked as a Nike executive responsible for recruiting Stephen Curry. During the meeting, he even misspelled Curry's name and presented a slide deck tailored for Kevin Durant instead. His careless mistakes caused Nike to miss out on Curry, leading to huge financial losses. Back then, Rob Pelinka, who was Kobe Bryant's agent, worked closely with Harrison on the marketing of the Kobe brand. This relationship continued for years. According to Dallas Morning News, about a month ago, Harrison first proposed the idea of trading Luka Doncic to Pelinka. At the time, Pelinka thought he was joking and didn't take it seriously. However, 3 weeks later, when Harrison made the offer again in earnest, the Lakers front office quickly took action and finalized the deal. Mark Cuban, who had already sold most of his stake in the Mavericks, was shocked and speechless when he learned of the Luka Doncic trade. Luka Doncic, in turn, unfollowed the Mavericks on social media, leaving only Cuban. For Luka Doncic, Cuban had once even said he would divorce his wife to keep him. How deep is the relationship between Luka Doncic and Cuban? As early as when Luka was 15, Cuban began paying attention to him, sending multiple scouts to assess Luka's talent. In 2016, after watching Luka lead Real Madrid baloncesto against the Thunder led by Westbrook, Cuban was ecstatic and immediately asked how many draft picks the Mavericks would need to get him. Upon realizing Luka would not fall to the 5th pick, Cuban immediately abandoned Trae Young and made a trade to acquire Luka Doncic. Once he got Luka, Cuban pampered the European prodigy. Cuban even learned Slovenian to make communication easier for Luka and helped him settle in by arranging a home just 5 minutes away from Cuban's. Defense wins championships. It's because of this mantra that Harrison sent 25-year-old Luka Doncic to the Lakers in exchange for Anthony Davis. The young player that Dallas had spent so much effort to select 7 years ago was now traded away in such an unexpected manner. Was he really not valuable? Luka Doncic was born in Ljubljana, Slovenia. At the age of 7 months, he first encountered basketball, and by 1 year old, he made a mini basketball hoop his primary toy. His father had also been a famous basketball player in Slovenia. Luka Doncic was truly born for basketball. Can you imagine a 3-year-old who couldn't speak but could already play basketball? Yes, at 3 years old, Luka Doncic's basketball career began. In an interview, Luka once mentioned that at 3, he couldn't talk much, but he had an intense desire to be on the court. Whenever he watched his father play, he would walk onto the court during halftime and try to shoot the ball, even though he couldn't hold it properly. He kept trying over and over again. By the time he was 5, little Luka was already playing basketball proficiently. His family, seeing his love for the game, decided to send Luka to basketball school when he turned 8. But to everyone's surprise, the 8-year-old Luka showcased tremendous potential on the court. His coach was stunned by his performance. Luka excelled in fitness, skills, and basketball IQ, completely dominating his peers. In 2012, one day, the Real Madrid basketball director knocked on the president's door and said, "President, we need to get the next Messi." Little did they know, the next Messi was 13-year-old Luka Doncic. After watching Luka score 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists against Barcelona in a classic derby, Real Madrid quickly acted. 6 months later, 13-year-old Luka joined Real Madrid. In 2014, across the ocean, the Mavericks scouts noticed this young talent. Thus began the quiet but intense 5-year Luka Doncic plan by Dallas, following every game and movement of the player. In April 2015, he became the youngest player in Real Madrid's history to start a match in La Liga, just 16 years and 3 months old. In 2016, during a preseason game against the Oklahoma City Thunder, 17-year-old Luka personally asked the coach, "I want to defend Russell Westbrook." In the 2017 to 2018 season, he led Real Madrid to the EuroLeague title, won Final Four MVP, and then defeated Baskonia in the La Liga finals to win the Spanish League Championship, also being named MVP. During that year's European forums, there was a saying, "Real Madrid soared on the wings of an 18-year-old kid." At this point, Dallas' 5-year plan was about to reach its conclusion. Don't doubt the Mavericks' vision for international players. In 1998, they spotted a German boy who would lead Dallas to an NBA championship. In 2013, Shane Nelson recommended another Greek youngster, Giannis Antetokounmpo, but unfortunately, Cuban didn't follow his advice. So this time, they weren't going to miss out on Luka Doncic. At the 2018 NBA draft, Luka Doncic's resume was far more impressive than DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley. 3, European Championship winner, La Liga champion and MVP, EuroLeague champion and MVP. In short, at 18, he had already swept all the European honors. Even so, he still couldn't escape the harsh judgment of the draft experts. The Suns and Kings, holding the first 2 picks, still passed on him. In their eyes, players from the NCAA were simply more reliable. In the end, the Hawks took the 3rd pick on this genius kid, but they also liked Trae Young, so they swapped picks and traded Doncic to Dallas. At the time, none of the team executives could have imagined that this would become one of their biggest mistakes. Once the trade was completed, Mavericks owner Cuban and head coach Rick Carlisle were nearly ecstatic. They never imagined they could get Luka Doncic with the 5th pick. And their last championship had also been won by a European prodigy. Unfortunately, the Mavericks' number 7 jersey was already taken, so Luka Doncic had to settle for number 77, entering the NBA with his dreams and began to show off Luka's magic. 2018 was Dirk Nowitzki's final season. In a rebuilding Dallas, they saw the future in the hands of a kid from Real Madrid. With an average of 21.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, he was undoubtedly named NBA Rookie of the Year. When a reporter asked Dirk, "What did you teach this kid privately?" Dirk Nowitzki waved his hand. "He doesn't need any guidance from me, he's an incredibly talented player." Entrusting Dallas' future to Luka was something Dirk Nowitzki felt completely comfortable with, and so did Cuban. That year, when Luka first entered the league, he set a 5-year plan for himself. Year 1, win Rookie of the Year and dunk on Kristaps Porzingis. Year 2, get his own signature shoe, make the All-NBA team and All-Star, and lead his team to the playoffs. Year 3, appear in a song by Drake and shoot his shot with actress Jennifer Aniston. Year 4, become the league MVP. Year 5, win an NBA championship. At that time, we thought this was just the wild imagination of a 19-year-old, but unexpectedly, in his second season, he elevated his stats to 28.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 8.8 assists. In the 2020 playoffs against the Clippers, Luka averaged 31 points per game, with a debut performance of 42 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds that shocked the league. In the 2020 bubble playoffs, with 3.7 seconds left in the Game 1 of the first round against the Los Angeles Clippers, Luka hit a step-back three-pointer over the defense of Kawhi Leonard to seal the win with a buzzer beater. On the way back to the locker room, Kawhi Leonard, who was responsible for guarding Luka, was interviewed. This champion and finals MVP from the previous year praised the young man, saying, "This is his first playoffs, but he's so mature. He's already in the top 1% of players in the league." In fact, although the Mavericks lost 2-4 in that series, it couldn't overshadow the brilliance of the Slovenian Miracle Kid. In 6 games, he averaged 31 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 8.7 assists, becoming the 5th player after LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Russell Westbrook, and Oscar Robertson to achieve such a feat. In those 6 games, he amassed a total of 150 points, 50 rebounds, and 50 assists, making him the youngest player in history to do so, with his 42 points in his playoff debut also setting a record. They specifically added one key stat: he was only 21 years old. He had done exactly what he promised, making the playoffs, becoming an All-Star starter, and even making All-NBA. All the doubts during his draft were gone. In the 2021-2022 season, Luka Doncic led the Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals. At just 23 years old, he was already a 3-time All-Star and an All-NBA first-team member. In the summer of 2023, Dallas was ranked 11th in the West and missed the play-in tournament. A reporter asked Cuban, "How do you see Luka Doncic's future with the Mavericks?" Cuban replied, "We absolutely believe that Luka wants to spend his entire career here in Dallas, but what we do and what we achieve has to be worthy of him." Last season, Luka and Kyrie Irving led the Mavericks to the NBA Finals, but everything came to an abrupt halt. With his achievements over the years, averaging 28.6 points, 8.7 rebounds, and 8.3 assists, consistently turning down MVP bids, Luka ranked 2nd in history for playoff scoring, just behind Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain, with countless moments of Luka magic. He may not be the best defender, may struggle with discipline, and has injury concerns, but this is Luka Doncic, 25-year-old franchise player and an NBA superstar. Unfortunately, he couldn't fulfill his promise to win an MVP with the Mavericks or hoist the championship trophy. He didn't end his career in Dallas, as Cuban had said, on October 26, 2024, during the Christmas game, without anyone knowing. Luka Doncic played his last game in Dallas during the winter season. In late 2019, Cuban was interviewed and said that if he had to choose between his wife and Luka Doncic, he would prepare for a divorce immediately. On the court, Cuban has gone all out to support Luka Doncic. Not only has he been fined multiple times for speaking up for Luka after games, but even former championship-winning head coach Rick Carlisle, who had coached the Mavericks for 13 seasons, left immediately after a conflict with Luka. The more fitting Jason Kidd then took over as coach. Even when it came to offering Luka Doncic a max contract extension, it was Cuban who personally flew to Slovenia with the management team to sign the deal with Luka. Cuban even promised not only to build a statue for Luka, but also to let him and Dirk Nowitzki decide the size of the statue. However, at the end of the year, Cuban sold most of his shares in the team, losing his influence. He wasn't even allowed to sit on the bench to watch games anymore. So, when the news of Luka's trade broke, many online blamed Cuban. But just like at the beginning, Cuban was also shocked by the news. Cuban's dedication to the players and the team is well known, but in this business league, such behavior is rare. So, you see, without Cuban, they're willing to trade a 25-year-old top 3 player like Luka Doncic. The reason Mavericks fans are so angry is that Harrison not only ruined the team's future but that Luka was abandoned at a low price. They could have asked for more, like demanding a 2031 first-round pick from the Lakers, or even Dalton Knecht or Austin Reeves. Additionally, the Thunder and Rockets have many young talents and draft picks to choose from, which could have offered more than what the Lakers gave. It wasn't until the very last moment before the trade that Harrison informed head coach Kidd about it. Since the league raised the luxury tax threshold, teams have started to be more calculated with their spending. This was the attitude the Mavericks assistant general manager Michael Finley has toward Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic was celebrating reaching the finals with a beer in hand, and Michael Finley took the beer away. Do you think this is a joke? Luka was visibly unhappy. But the truth is, Luka has lacked discipline when it comes to diet and fitness. When Luka entered the league, he weighed 230 pounds, but this season, he weighed 270 pounds, gaining 40 pounds with no muscle mass. This season, he only played 22 games due to a calf injury. After this incident, the Mavericks didn't say, "We're unlucky," but they believed that if Luka had been more disciplined, he wouldn't have suffered repeated injuries. In last year's finals, Luka's defensive performance was unacceptable to the team. When they were down 0-3, he continuously blamed the referees and teammates, but never thought to carry the team during crucial moments. The Mavericks could have used Luka to acquire any NBA superstar. His career average points per game ranks 3rd in history, behind only Jordan and Chamberlain. Clearly, trading a 25-year-old Luka Doncic for a 32-year-old Anthony Davis is worse than the Clippers trading Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or the Thunder trading James Harden. For Luka Doncic, this is also an insult. He had lost $116 million as he lost the chance to sign a maximum salary contract with the Mavericks. Mavericks general manager Harrison clearly stated, "We are trading Luka Doncic to acquire any superstar we want, but the one we want is Davis." He believes that defense wins championships and that Davis is the versatile defensive center they need. He also stated that he believes Luka Doncic has no discipline. The Mavericks are almost telling the world, they don't want to be the Pelicans with Zion Williamson, nor the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard. They are willing to take the risk of trading a fragile superstar like Luka. The Mavericks are betting that Luka Doncic won't become the next great player, won't win MVP, and won't win a championship. New Mavericks owner Patrick Dumont is betting that Luka Doncic will be the next Zion Williamson, and that's the reason behind this trade. However, Anthony Davis is about to turn 32, Kyrie Irving is 33, and Klay Thompson is nearly 35. Their window to contend for a championship is closing. The Timberwolves, who traded Karl Anthony Towns, have become a case study in failed roster moves, and whether the Mavericks will follow that same path remains to be seen. If this trade fails, the Mavericks will have to sit back and watch, far away from the championship, quietly waiting for another once-in-a-lifetime talent to fall from the sky. As for the Lakers, this trade will help them make up for all the lost future opportunities when they traded for Anthony Davis. The Lakers clearly want to secure the next superstar to lead the team after LeBron James is past his prime or even retired. After Kobe Bryant's retirement, the Lakers went through a period without a star player until LeBron James arrived in Los Angeles. This also fits with the Lakers' tradition of acquiring top-tier stars, willing to spend money to bring them in after developing their own. Luka Doncic's idol has always been LeBron James. His all-around game and on-court performances are increasingly resembling his idol. Now, Luka has the chance to team up with his idol. After proving himself as an elite player in the league for 6 years, Luka Doncic has become the absolute core of the Lakers team for the next decade.